So you met Mara yesterday, Miss Divine Mara, and you heard that she's been part of the Leader's Edge program. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Give her another round of applause.
What a beautiful audience.
This is a great audience, right?
It's lovely.
They're the best. So the cool thing, I just want to start off, the thing that I admire about Mara is when we started working together, she like takes action. She knows what she wants. And, I love working with people that we have a session and literally you check back in and everything's done. Like she goes out, she gets her opt-in videos done. She sets her events up. I mean, everything's set up, it's done, even while she's on vacation enjoying herself for 3 weeks, right? So she's been a financial advisor, as you know, and she's moving into the space and has moved into the space where she's doing some amazing things, and I want you to hear from her. She's got a great story. She's had a lot of success at a young age, and she's a terrific, terrific human being. So I wanted to bring her up here again. She was up yesterday to just share a little bit about her journey and what it's been like for her making this transition, what it's been like being in the financial advisor space and as a woman leading other women. And take it away and share a little bit about yourself and how this all came to be.
All right. Hi, everybody. You certainly are a beautiful audience. It's awesome to be up here.
Doesn't she look beautiful?
Thank you.
She like the coolest dressed person in the place? Yeah, right?
Well, I'll tell you a little bit of my story of why I have to dress like this. I'm paying for 6 years of fashion sins, but I'll get into that in a little while. So, as a young child, I've always been a visionary. When I was about 4 years old, I told my mom, "Thank you very much, but you no longer need to tuck me in. You no longer need to pick out my clothes, and I would like you to find a kindergarten that will take a 4-year-old." And she sort of looked at me, and she always wanted to raise an independent woman, and so she said, "Okay, I'm going to find you a kindergarten." So she checked me into Montessori school when I was 4. No longer picked out my outfits, which was tragic as well because of what I decided matched. But she let me be who I was. And so from a very young age, I had that space created for me. And it was an incredible experience. However, as I moved into elementary school, I was in the public school system, and it wasn't cool anymore to be yourself. It wasn't cool to be eccentric. The more you fit into the mold, the more you were accepted. So I spent my entire elementary school years basically either in a corner in the library, and eventually made friends with the librarian, Mrs. Lattiser, and she would let me file all of the books that the other kids had checked out. So I would go in and put those away, or I would sit on the playground in the corner as far away from everybody else as I could and dig little holes in the ground and make up stories and just sort of be alone. Because when I was around my peers, I was teased really, really badly. And so I would pick out outfits and I thought, "Oh, this is so cool. I'm going to wear this today." And I would go to school and everyone would stand in a circle and they would laugh at me. When I finally was able to start shaving my legs, which was about 5th grade, my mom had to help me, but I missed a spot on my knee. And so I remember being teased about that. It was just anything that I did, I did not fit in. And it was just either Mara needed to conform and fit in the box, or we were going to make fun of her, and I was the one that everyone picked on. Eventually, I got into junior high school, and so finally I had convinced my mom that we didn't need to shop at Family Bargain Center, we needed to shop at Charlotte Russe. So, we've picked out an outfit at Charlotte Russe, appropriately long brown shorts for an 8th grader, and my mom was going to let me wear a spaghetti strap shirt for the very first time to school, which was a very big deal. So I had picked out a tan spaghetti strap shirt, these cute brown shorts, brown strappy leather sandals, and I had my mom help me. I had really long blonde hair, so we did a half up, half down ponytail thing, and I thought I looked fantastic. And I walk in to the campus, and the first thing is the same group of girls surround me and start laughing. And my mom had gotten very used to calls from the nurse's office with upset stomachs, and she would come and pick me up, and she would put up with it, and she would take me to lunch and say, "You're a beautiful girl. One day people are going to understand," because I wasn't the cutest thing out there. All through elementary school, I had this tooth was completely sideways, like this, and I had to have braces twice. It was so bad. And then I decided I didn't like tucking my hair behind my ears, so she made it really easy for me. She just cut my hair right here and right here, which is effectively called a mullet. So I wasn't the most delightful looking child, and so I had just lived in this awkward, I don't fit in my body, yet I know who I am, and I'm not going to let anybody put me in a box. So about 8th grade, when I wore that outfit to school, I decided I hate girls, I'm never doing anything that involves girls, and I'm just going to be friends with the guys. And it worked out very well for me because they thought I was cute, which was fantastic. And so 8th grade, I spent skateboarding all through the summer. I was the video girl, and we'd go back to the house and watch all of the footage from skateboarding. I couldn't even ollie, but they still let me hang around. So it was fun. And then from there, I moved into, I actually had my mom move me to a different school in the middle of my high school years because I had a goal that I wanted to go to Argentina. I'd always been a goal setter, and so I wanted to move to Argentina in college and learn to speak Spanish. So my mom said, okay, I'll move you to this private little Christian school, and I was able to put all sorts of stuff on my high school resume. I was on the varsity basketball team, never made a single basket, and my claim to fame is that I actually dribbled the wrong direction as a varsity basketball player. But it looked really, really good on my college application. So basically, for all of that to say that as I finished high school, I got accepted to Pepperdine University, where I wanted to go. Then I applied for the Argentina program. I got accepted, only 50 students out of 250 applicants, and I was able to do that. So I went to Argentina, and here we are, 50 students, have never been to this country. So we all are sitting at the house waiting for our homestay parents to come pick us up. And everyone else's parents show up. They all walk in the door. They all speak English. Everyone's laughing and having a good time, and here I am sitting. Where's my homestay family? Where is she? Okay, 15, 20 minutes after everyone else had left, she walks in, and she politely says, Hola, me llamo Susana Alvarado y no hablo inglés. And she basically told me she could speak 5 words of English, and none of them would she'd be able to use to put together a sentence. So here I am in Argentina thinking this was going to be delightful, and I can't speak to the lady that I'm living with. It scared me to death. So we got home, I unpacked in this weird closet. They have just strange architecture down there. And everything's unpacked, and I get in bed, and I start to sob. What in the world was I thinking? This was a terrible idea. Why would I have this dream? I can't communicate. She put hard-boiled eggs in peas and called it dinner. I didn't know what was going on. It was just the strangest thing. They made this tuna pie with whole hard-boiled eggs. Nothing was right. And I cried for the first week, and then I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and said, Mara, do you remember you're the one that wanted to do this anyways? So as I started moving through that and working with speaking Spanish, and the way that she had to teach me was a perfect way. So to this day, I'm fluent in Spanish. It was an amazing experience, and I was able to hold on to that. And I started to realize that anything that I wanted to do, I could do. Once I came back, I accelerated through my college years and wanted to take over my dad's construction company because he never had any sons, and I figured it would be a shame for him to sell it to somebody who didn't understand the legacy. And I decided that that's what I was going to do. I was going to be a general contractor as a little 21-year-old blonde girl. At the same time, I decided it was a really good idea to get married while I was in college. So I did. To a man who was about to ship off to actually be on an aircraft carrier for a year. He came back, and I'll just say that it was a nice practice marriage. He decided that it was more fun to go out dancing and partying than spend time at home with his wife. He hadn't quite been ready for that. And luckily, again, I had my supportive mom who said, Mara, you can't live the rest of your life like this. If you don't deserve to be treated this way, and it's okay if you step outside of that box of how I was raised, which was in a rather strict home, and it was okay. She would support me in moving on with my life, and so I was able to do that. And luckily, met an amazing man I've been married to for 6 years now, and I had moved into that space of running the construction company. It was a $7 million company. I'm still protected from girls because no girls work in the construction industry, so I was safe. It was awesome. And I started running the company. Things were great. My dad was 2 months away from retirement. I was making a killer six-figure salary as a 22-year-old. I had saved $80,000 in my 401k since I was 16. I was on track. Life was fantastic. And then October 2008. Anybody remember that? It was devastating. A $7 million company shrinking to a $500,000 company overnight, $100,000 a month overhead. You can't throw stuff off the boat fast enough. So my husband and I lost our home. I lost $40,000 in my 401k. I lost my job. I lost my six-figure salary. And here I was at 23 thinking, can it get any worse? And then my parents pulled me aside and said, we've decided to get divorced. So that meant that it could get a lot worse. And I watched my parents, after being married for 25 years, decide that they couldn't stay together. It was really my mom's idea. And I'll talk a little bit about how that affected me when I get into a little bit more about what I do. But what I was able to see was my mom did not have her core values being met. She's a very connected person. She grew up when she was raising us, there were 3 girls, so she always had that connection. And when she lost that, when she raised 3 independent women and we all moved out of the house, she found herself all alone in a home where she didn't have that connection with my dad. And he didn't know how to give that connection because he had never experienced it in his home. He still calls his parents by their first names. And that was his worldview. And so when they got divorced, I watched my dad, and the most heartbreaking part was showing up to the office every morning at 4:30 in the morning, a god-awful hour to be awake, but he decided that's what time we worked, so I showed up. I watched him cry every morning looking at photos of our family and how it had been torn apart. And at the same time, I had to look at my mom and say, she's finally pursuing what's important to her, and she's making sure that her core values are being met. But I found myself in this place that was just devastating. Everything had been torn apart. And I decided I had 2 choices. One was to wallow in that and share that story as the end of my story, and that was going to be my last chapter at 23. Or I would use all of those broken pieces and create a new foundation that I could jump from. And that's what I decided to do. So at 23 years old, I said, okay, I'm going to figure this thing out. And shortly thereafter, I met the owner of the financial services company that I work with, and I decided that their message really resonated with me. I had watched my dad lose half of his net worth, lost his ability to retire on top of his marriage, and I just said, you know what, I'm going to go with this because I love the products that they deal with, and it's an industry full of men, so I won't have to work with women. It's going to be great. Until they introduced the fact that they do this great group called Wine, Women, and Wealth. And I'm like, women? No, I don't do that. I don't like that. But I was lucky enough to step into a place of leadership with Wine, Women, and Wealth, and I fell in love with women so quickly. Women are absolutely amazing creatures. We can do so much.
And all the women around.
Yeah. My mother was my inspiration to be able to step from that place and begin to love women, because she always said, Mara, it's not that they don't love you, it's just that they don't love themselves. And so I thought, well, if I could create a space for women to love themselves, oh my gosh, what sort of changes could we make in this world? And my mom was that inspiration when she finally, at 52 years old, decided, I'm going to figure out where I can go to get my core values met. And I'm happy to say that after 5 miserable years of internet dating, which is terrible to watch as a daughter, let me just tell you, she has an amazing man in her life. They're planning, I shouldn't say this out loud because he hasn't proposed yet, but they are planning to get married shortly, within the next year, so I'm really happy. My dad is remarried. Last month, his company finally showed a profit again. And so it's been this picture of everything rising from the ashes and being able to see my mom's life improve, my life improve, my father's life improve. And that's really a testament to, if you step into your true self and you really pursue what's most important to you, everything else aligns. And that's really how I ended up here on this stage, was starting to, when I had the Wine, Women, and Wealth groups, and I would have these amazing conversations.
I think the cool thing to share is that she had great, amazing success and still has it. in financial advising.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about the story is that that pain, right, became your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And now you went from this place of financial ruins or whatever you'd like to call it, and you built yourself back up, and you turned that around. And that's the thing that I really, truly admire about you. I want you to know that you're able to do something like that with the pain that you felt, and you were able to go and say, you know what, I'm going to make sure that, number one, that this doesn't happen for other women.
Right.
Right? Number two, I'm going to be a leader and take ownership, and I'm going to go and, make money, right? But teach other people not only money, independence, self-worth. And you rose to the ranks fast. In what, 18 months you built a six-figure business?
18 months, six-figure business, youngest executive vice president with the company. I still absolutely love what I do with them, and Wine, Women, and Wealth has just given me that platform to create FemmePowerU. It's not that I'm giving up that financial piece because it's so important for women, but I saw so much more that needed to be dealt with. And if women could really focus on what was most important to them, like Ted was saying yesterday, the one thing, if a woman can figure out what her one thing is and make sure that that's being brought into her daily life, she feels fulfilled. And if her goals that she's setting are in alignment with that one thing, whatever it is, she feels fulfilled. And I saw that with my mom. Her key core value is connectedness. And when she lost it, she was lost. And when she was able to figure out what it was and pursue it and really set that as a goal, and now to see her have that every single day and to see the joy that she has in her life is incredible.
And the transformation that you've had where you went from the space of resisting being with women, and now you love being with women. And not only have you helped them become financially independent, not only do you lead a team full of women every single day, that's the part she didn't tell you. She leads a team full of women that she actually trains as financial advisors while she builds her financial advisor business. And at the same time, she's done that in 18 months. Talk about turning around and building a six-figure business. She's become a leader in what she does. And then when she was here and we had the conversation, she says, I'm going to do it. And the funny thing is, she wasn't even in the room when I did the presentation for the program. She says, I know I'm working with you. And somebody said, well, you don't even know what the program is. She says, no, I work with Ted. He helps me get results. That's simple, right? That shows you the type of person she is, right? And that's how she's lived her life. With everything that I hear in your story, that's how you've lived your life. And you then look at, wow, okay, how can I help women even more?
Right.
Not just financial advising.
Right.
So now tell them, what you're doing, and let's tell them about, your first experience, right, speaking on this message that's been a part of you because you've lived it for years.
Right.
So tell them what you're doing now, and then tell them about your first experience of doing it.
So as I shared a little bit last night, when I met Ted at CLA in April, before that I had these ideas rolling around in my head of, well, I want to start a company and I love public speaking and I would love to work with women in all areas of their life, incorporate the financial piece, blend those two things together, but I didn't have any sort of guidance. I had gone to a couple of seminars and nothing was resonating, and so when I saw Ted speak just 4 months ago, like he said, it was like, I work with Ted, he helps me figure this stuff out. So the first day that we sat down, we created the entire framework, and it was in me, so it was easy to get out, but it was all about empowering women to understand what it is that makes them unique, what I call their you factor, help them to step into that instead of hide from it, and create the life that they're really meant to live.
Isn't that cool? Who resonates with that? Yes?
Yeah.
And is she an awesome representation of the you factor and uniqueness and doing that? And stepping in and living the life she's meant to live? Yes.
Yeah, it's my message. It's what's in me. And so what I did is I decided, well, I already have this amazing community of women here in the San Diego area. I live up in Oceanside. And I said, well, why don't I just start with my community? So I started inviting women and saying, hey, come out for the evening. I'd love to introduce this new framework. And there's a couple women in the room that have attended already that have been really great supporters. And it was kind of nerve-wracking to set up your own stage and your own event and invite people and cross your fingers and hope to God they show up. And they did. They showed up. They were supportive. Women are now really interested in coming to my 2-day event that I'm doing in September. going to be right in Del Mar, and so it's a local event. My goal is to bring my community of women and their community so that we can empower each other to step into what it is that really makes us unique and celebrate it. And it's just been such an amazing experience.
How did you feel when you were done? When you did it the other night when you came off, how'd you feel?
It's an unbelievable feeling.
Yeah.
It's a rush. I just felt like I was right in my element, doing exactly what I was supposed to do. And the amazing thing is the day after, I happened to be at another networking event. One of the women that attended was there, and she said, I've been illustrating other women's books for the last 11 years, and I never gave myself permission to write my own and to illustrate my own. And she said, after I came, it was a 90-minute thing. This was not even the 2-day. After I came, I decided I was going to go home. My husband was gone doing something, and I gave myself the afternoon, and I outlined in 3 of my own books. I've already come up with the characters, the illustration. She said, it's been 11 years. I've never been inspired. I've never given myself permission to do this. And so for her to finally be able to step into that and use her own gift to benefit her, that is the most incredible feeling, even more than being on your own stage, is having those conversations with women and being able to see them step into their own and really embrace their you factor and say, I'm willing to even do this for myself. I'm willing to use my gift for myself. And that's what we're not taught to do in this culture especially. Women are supposed to give. We always have our hair on fire, trying to deal with everybody else's problems. And at the end of the day, we don't have time to figure out even what it is that we want, what our values are. So this space is going to be a sacred space for women to step into and say, I'm worth it. I'm worth giving myself that time, those 2 days, to uncover what it is, uncover those unique values, and then uncover my true desires so that I can have the independence, the lifestyle, the financial freedom that I deserve. Women deserve it. Can I get a round of applause for that? Women are amazing. And I love you guys too, because you're the ones that got me through all of the mess. So we'll figure out a way to get you incorporated in there too.
So give us some tips of something that you're going to do at the workshop, like let's do an exercise or something.
Okay. Well, the first step in my framework is really understanding beliefs and values, going through those core values, because what I believe is when you can understand what's most important to you and bring that into your life on a daily basis, you really do feel like you're on track. And so we're going to do, I actually had the opportunity to do that with some of the women while I was there. I brought them up on stage and we went through it live and really ask them, what would be most important for you to feel in your life? And Ted did this to me, and it was really uncomfortable. And it's like you're digging in stuff that you don't want to be digging in, but boy, was it incredible when you get down to the bottom of it and you're able to pull that up and say, connectedness is most important to me, or freedom is most important to me, love is most important to me. Then from there, you can ask yourself, how often do I experience that? Is it monthly? Have I felt it in the last month? Have I felt it in the last week? And then you can bring it into a daily basis. Have I felt it today? And if you haven't, that's when we really start to feel lost, when those key things are not being met.
Let's have everybody do it. Let's have them write it down.
All right.
So, you guys ready? Are you ready?
Woohoo! Woo!
Right? So, what's been most important for you to feel? Just write it down.
And then you ask yourself, so if I had that fully, what would be most important for me to feel in my life? And then once you have that second thing written down, you ask, if I had that fully, whatever that first or second item was, what would be most important for me to feel in my life? Yes, it's the same question every time, which is what drove me crazy. I wanted to strangle Ted because I was like, you're digging somewhere where I don't want you digging. What tends to happen is the first 5 are your conscious mind. They're the right answers. And then when it starts to get really uncomfortable, you're getting into the subconscious where the real answer comes up. So the very first question is, what's been most important for you to feel in your life?
And you write that down.
And you write that down.
Yeah.
And then you ask yourself, if I had that, if I was experiencing that fully, what would be most important for me to experience and feel in my life?
So it's what else?
What
What
else?
else is most important? So you get the first one, and then what else would be most important for me to feel? The point is, you're looking for a second feeling that's different than the first. If you've got 2 down, you do the third. What else would be most important?
Once you have the third, you do the fourth. What else would be most important? When you have the fourth, you move on to the fifth. What else would be most important? If I had that fully, what else would be most important? What? It's a feeling.
If you're having trouble getting to the feeling, then just write down what's most important. So if you write family, then the question is, what feeling does that give you? What feeling does family give you? Does that make sense? You might have trouble accessing the feeling of it. So what's the thing that's most important to you? What is most important? It's racing cars. Great. What feeling does that give you? It's being with my family. What feeling does that give you? How many people have 5? How many people have 10? Cool.
And you can ask yourself, and what I do when I'm doing this on stage with someone is, when it starts to, I can see it in their face that they're starting to get to that place, and you can just ask yourself, am I complete? Is this complete? Have I arrived? And your true self will tell you yes or no. You know, am I complete? Do I need to go another level down? And as you're working through that, you can have that conversation with yourself, with what Ted calls your best self, I call your true self. That person that arrived, that better version of yourself, and ask him, is this it? And she or he will tell you.
So is everybody at 9 or 10? Yeah, good. Good. So this is one of the things that she'll do with you more deeply at the workshop that she's doing, that she's going to invite you all to come to as a gift. And you know, the powerful thing is, I want her to share this is because you get to look at that and see what really is most important in my life. And if you have something at the top of the list that, say it's success, right, is at the top, and love is down at number 9, and you start to look at your life, and you're like, am I experiencing success? Yeah, I'm experiencing success. Am I really happy? Not fully. What else do I really want in my life? I want love. Love's all the way down at number 9. Maybe it's time to reevaluate it. Okay? So you'll go through exercises at the workshop. Just because this came out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 doesn't mean it's the most important. You'll number what's most important, and you'll say this one's most important, this one's most important. As you start to label what's most important, and you look, number 1's most important, number 2's most important, number 5's the third most important, number 7's the fourth. You'll start to get a list of what's really most important to you, and then you got to ask yourself, how often am I really feeling this? If it's most important, if it's the most important thing to you on the planet, because you value it the most and you're not feeling it every day, there's conflict. Okay? So this is what Mara is going to share with you at the event. So let's tell them a little bit about the event.
Okay.
And when it is, and let's give them a gift to come.
Great. So the event is September 20th and 21st. It's a Friday and Saturday. It'll be at the Del Mar Hilton, which is just up the road a little bit. And it's going to be a 2-day event, so 9 to 5 both days. I have a few guest speakers, including a man panel that's going to be very exciting, that you have to attend to explore. And we're going to go through the whole framework. You'll leave with a full, what I call your U-factor declaration that you can read to yourself every morning. I tell women the first thing you should do is go home, get a red dry erase marker, and draw a giant heart on your mirror where you're normally pulling at your face and saying, oh, these wrinkles are getting so deep, oh, this blemish, this, that, and the other, oh, I need more makeup. Before you do anything, you look at the heart and you say, boy, do I love myself. I'm an amazing creature. Before you start pulling at your face. And then right next to that, you're going to write your U factor, what it is that makes you unique, so you're reminding yourself on a daily basis. So you're going to go home with some assignments that are going to help you to bring that awareness every day. And that way you make sure that you're focused on it instead of always hair on fire and dealing with everybody else's problems and not focusing on what's most important to you. So I'd love to invite all of the women to attend. We have Nicole will be out at my table. She's my right and left arm, as I say. She is my Alex. Mm-hmm. And you can sign up for that. It's totally free. I'd love to invite you as my guest to attend. It would be so much fun to have those experiences with you. And then we're also giving away a free strategy session. That way we can incorporate the men as well. So if you'd love to have a conversation around what it is that makes you unique, we're also going to tie in understanding your money soundtrack, how that's affecting your decisions in that strategy session. And that's my gift to you.
Cool. Give her a round of applause.